Mafia 1 was developed by Illusion Softworks, who later became 2K Czech, and it was released in 2002. Prior to this video, I had very little knowledge of this game, but so many of you kept telling me to check it out, so here we are. Going into this, I purchased the game for the original Xbox, but later decided to go with the PC version because of the better resolution as well as frame rate. The digital version of this game has most of the music stripped out though, which ruins a lot of the experience. Thankfully, there is a mod that can restore said music, and it's fairly easy to install, but I wanted to point that out if any of you decide to purchase Mafia 1 on PC. Now, I'm going to be honest, I did not like this game at first. In fact, one of the first missions is literally driving people around as a taxi driver. If you go too fast, they'll get upset. If you run a red light, a cop could pull you over. It was awful, especially since I just finished Mafia 2, where one of my complaints is that you drive around so much. But then I stopped and realized that's kind of the point of this entire mission. It's supposed to suck. Tommy hates doing this as well, which is why he considers going back to the Salieri family and joining the Mafia. Once I was in this sort of mindset, I started enjoying the game a lot more. You're still going to do some boring tasks even when you're in the Mafia, but that's because you have to work your way up. You start small, and then things definitely get bigger and better. Personally, I really enjoyed the story of this game. It's not perfect. Some of the voice acting, even from the main character, can be pretty bad, but I thought the actual story was well done. The only real issue I have is that some characters get introduced and they're pretty interesting, but you never really find out more about them. For example, there's a character named Ralph who knows how to steal cars. The voice actor is great and I love seeing him every time, but he's really just there to give you a new car. Same thing for a character called Vincenzo. He provides weapons for you at the start of almost every mission, but that's it. I think these characters could have been a bit better if they had a little more backstory. Honestly though, besides that, the story is fantastic, especially when you start getting towards the end of the game. And even though I knew Tommy was going to die, I was still invested in the story. Also, it's kind of crazy to see Vito and Joe from 2002. Like, Joe actually looks pretty similar to his character in Mafia 2. Meanwhile, Vito just looks completely different. Speaking of crazy, I have to mention the amount of variety in the mission designs. There's missions where you'll be driving in a circuit race. There's one where you'll be on a boat trying to assassinate someone, breaking into a mansion without trying to get caught. I definitely didn't expect this amount of variety, but it was obviously welcome. The unfortunate thing that sets back most of these missions is that they're just so hard. You are going to die a lot, and it's not the good kind of challenge where it's competitive, it's just annoying. I remember one mission where I had to protect Don Salieri, and the dude lost all of his health before I could even do anything. And then when I restarted the mission, I lost a bunch of health in just 2 seconds. And sometimes when you fail a mission, the checkpoints just can be so brutal and start you way back. When I finally beat a mission, I'm just excited to move on and never touch it again. It also doesn't help that the gunplay just doesn't hold up that well. There's no cover system, and the guns just don't feel impactful at all. Sometimes enemies can be bullet sponges, recoil can be awful, and there's nothing real satisfying about it. I will give the game credit for this though. Enemies can actually run out of bullets and switch to another weapon, which doesn't happen in games, so that's a nice small detail, and it honestly helped me out a few times. Just like with Mafia 2, this game is filled with crazy small details, and it's insane considering that Mafia is almost 18 years old. You can fill up your gas tank, bullets will show on your vehicle, you can get inside the train, the trolleys. Oh, and at one point, I was just driving, and there was a guy about to jump off a bridge, and there was just an entire scene around it. This game has features that most current AAA games don't, and I really have to applaud it for that. To be honest, the graphics don't actually look that bad either. I was surprised by how well the city can look at times, and even some cutscenes. Obviously, there's the occasional NPC that looks out of place, but you can tell the developers worked hard to make this an insane game despite having a lower budget than something like GTA. Also, Mafia 1 is actually pretty long. It took me about 12 hours to beat, and to be fair, a lot of that is repeating missions and driving around, but still, that's longer than a lot of games, especially when you consider the release date. But yeah, driving in this game can get pretty annoying just because you normally have to drive across the map and go back and forth. If driving bothered you in Mafia 2, be prepared for this game. And I'm not saying the actual driving is bad, I actually think it's really good. Mafia as an entire series, at least to me, has always nailed the driving. I just wish there was a little less of it. I do have to mention that my minimap was fucked up though. Normally you can see all the roads and bridges, but mine was just blank for some reason. Thankfully, the mission icons appeared so I could actually progress in the game, but I want to bring this up because I sort of had to memorize the layout of this map, so maybe the experience for me was a little bit damaged. At the end of the day, I enjoyed my time with Mafia 1. It's a shame that I'm playing it 18 years after release because some mechanics have aged. I actually know quite a few people who have never got around to playing this game and probably never will because of it. Hopefully one day 2K will actually do a proper remake because I think people should experience the story. If you don't mind playing older games though, I really think you should pick this up. It's currently on Steam and GOG, or you can buy a physical copy for the Xbox or PS2. Remember, if you do get a digital copy, it won't have a lot of the licensed music, so be sure to look into that because this game has a fantastic soundtrack that really adds to the story and worlds. As always though, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.